Strap in, folks, because what's unfolding right now could be the most explosive scandal daytime TV has ever seen. We're not talking about a petty on-air spat or a heated exchange. No, this controversy is cracking the very foundation of one of the most talked-about talk shows in television history. When a show that preaches fairness, feminism, and open dialogue turns into a battleground for personal attacks and political slander, people don't just watch, they demand answers. And this time, those questions aren't fading into the background.
Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline.
The View is staring down its biggest crisis yet, and it's not just a PR nightmare. Karoline Leavitt, a fiery and fearless conservative voice, has turned what she calls a slanderous hit job by the show into an earth-shaking $800 million lawsuit. Yes, $800 million. The fallout. Chaos. Insiders say the hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin, are scrambling behind the curtain, practically pleading with Karoline to pull back. But what exactly did they say to get in this much hot water? How did Karoline's thunderclap of a response send ABC's legal team into DEFCON 1? And is this the end of The View as we know it? Stick around, because it's only just getting wild. Oh, and before we dive deeper, smash that like button and subscribe for the latest uncensored updates.
You know, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world. You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
So how did all this ignite? Once again, The View took aim at Karoline Leavitt using their favorite tactics: mockery, dismissiveness, and loaded accusations. Joy Behar was front and center, flashing that trademark smirk. She basically brushed off Karoline's achievements, implying the only reason Trump supports her is because he finds her attractive. Yep, that's the level we're dealing with. But this time, that snide little jab didn't slide by unnoticed. It's come back like a legal boomerang.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous... Okay.
Then came Whoopi Goldberg, never one to stay silent. She fired off her own shot, claiming Karoline wouldn't have a career if it weren't for wokeness. That wasn't just a dig, it was a full frontal assault on Karoline's credibility, framed through Whoopi's personal political lens.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was a person's world.
This commentator said, Whoopi is mansplaining the press secretary job to Karoline Leavitt. Hilarious.
And of course, Sunny Hostin jumped into the fray. She upped the ante, declaring Karoline's rise to success was nothing but a byproduct of privilege. The backlash. Instant. Outrage erupted online, with fans calling out The View for their blatant double standard. One viral post nailed it. They say they empower women, unless the woman's conservative. Then it's open season. But Karoline, she didn't just tweet about it. She went nuclear.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate.
Instead of throwing shade online, Karoline took the gloves off and brought legal fire. She filed an $800 million lawsuit accusing The View of defamation, slander, and a targeted campaign to ruin her career. And let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't just a lawsuit, it's an all-out war. Reports say ABC's legal squad is in a full-blown panic, and for good reason. Karoline's not just fighting for herself, she's calling out the entire mainstream media ecosystem. Her lawsuit claims that The View has a long record of tearing down conservative voices, and this might be the reckoning they never saw coming. Insiders say ABC execs are losing it, trying desperately to keep their advertisers from pulling the plug. But let's be real, this ship might already be sinking.
Hey, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point.
And now comes the part they really didn't want you to know. Behind the scenes, the very hosts who mocked Karoline on air are reportedly begging her for a truce. That's right. Joy Behar, who laughed off Karoline's career, is said to be trying to broker peace. Whoopi. Rumors say she's reaching out through mutual contacts, desperate for a private sit-down to calm the storm. And Sunny Hostin. Her legal team is apparently in meltdown mode, warning she could end up personally responsible for millions in damages. Oh, how the tables have turned. These once untouchable queens of daytime are now scrambling for mercy. But Karoline isn't backing down, because for her, it's not just personal. It's about finally holding the media accountable for years of unchecked lies, spin, and attacks. And guess what? The internet loves it. One viral tweet said it best. Karoline Leavitt is doing what every silenced voice has dreamed of, making The View pay for its lies. But wait, it gets even worse.
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about base?
Right now, ABC is in absolute crisis mode. Network execs are reportedly in meltdown, trying to figure out just how deep this lawsuit could go. Word on the street. Major sponsors are starting to get cold feet. Some are even considering pulling ads entirely. And let's face it, The View has been teetering on the edge for years. From Whoopi's suspensions to Joy's endless controversies to plummeting public trust, the brand's been bleeding credibility. ABC's been toying with the idea of shutting it down, and this lawsuit might just be the final nail in the coffin. If the very hosts who stirred the pot are now secretly begging for peace behind the scenes, that says everything you need to know. The show's unraveling. The network is in disarray. And Karoline Leavitt, she's not just surviving, she's winning.